I must admit it when I spit it. Scientific, I was born with it. The metaphysics defies the laws of physics. Don't stop, get it, get it. And you can feel it in your spirit when you hear it. I left the Mars, step into the temple. The honor war is mental. I'm vibing on a higher leg of slaying you devils. Hearing voices, surrounded by this cosmic forces. I'm the Zodiac killer, rhyme splitter, pyramid builder, the thriller in Manila.
The topic of today. So what I want to do now is I want to introduce the gentleman who I have a lot of respect for, first of all, and I want to talk about his new film that's coming out. It's the documentary called BECTON the Barber. Terrence Graham is a graduate of James Keenan High School and a graduate of North Carolina A&T State University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's degree in agency counseling. Terrence is the owner of Graham Moore and Clark LLC, Addiction and Behavioral Counseling, where he practices as a LCAS licensed clinical addiction specialist, also a MAC, which is Master's Addiction Counselor, and SAP, Substance Abuse Practitioner, DCC, Distance Credential Counselor, and CS-I, Clinical Supervisory Intern. Whew. I'll tell you, man, brothers are doing a lot of things. Mr. Terrence Graham is the owner of 5 Feet Productions, where he and his brother Eric Graham has written, directed, and produced 4 children's books and 2 independent films, one I'm assuming being BECTON the Barber. Now, to the star of the hour. Mr. BECTON is, his real name is Mr. Rudolph BECTON of Magnolia, North Carolina. He's the owner of BECTON Barbershop and the star of the new documentary, BECTON the Barber. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to some and present to others my new friend, Mr. BECTON. Good morning, Mr. BECTON.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing outstanding, sir. I'm in the presence of greatness right now. I want to thank you for being here this morning. And I want to talk to you a lot about your history in the community of Duplin County. You're a pillar. A lot of people have love for you, and I see why. Just talking to you these few minutes, I really have a newfound love and respect for you, sir. Tell me a little bit about how you got started in the business world here in Duplin County. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yes, I was living in Virginia at the time where I really started barbering. And I want to come back home. So and over the period of time, I decided, I said, well, spoke to my wife, and I said, we need to go back to North Carolina. And so we moved back came back looking around for a place to build a business.
Yes, sir.
So I went to Clinton, and I looked around there. That was a nice city. I went to Faison, I went to Warsaw, went to Kenansville, Wallace, and I looked around. But you know, I stopped in a little place called Magnolia.
Magnolia.
And it was nothing there much.
Yeah.
But I spoke to my wife after driving around town. I said, you know, this is a little place and nothing here, but we could make something happen.
Yeah. Make something happen.
Yeah, make something happen. So we rode around, and finally, cutting short, we found a little place to build a barbershop.
Wow. So you built the barbershop from the ground up?
From ground up.
Wow.
And then after building the barbershop, we needed a place to stay.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to work first, so
Yeah.
I could get, and then we found a place to build our house.
Wow. And how long ago was that, sir, again?
We moved to Magnolia in 1967.
In 1967?
Yes.
My gosh, so it's now 2000 and going on 17. Your wife, how long you been married to your beautiful wife?
Well, the wife, she deceased now, but we was married for 53 years.
53 years.
Yes.
Wow.
And we got along fine and worked at BECTON Barber and Beauty Shop in Magnolia, North Carolina.
Now, you know, you said 53 years you were married. We know nowadays a lot of marriages just don't last that long. What was it about your marriage that was different, that helped you have that staying power for 53 years?
I'll tell you, never stop courting or dating your wife, and you will get along very well with your wife.
Is that the secret?
That's the secret. Yes.
So you know, you started BECTON Barbershop. all those years ago. You have also a military background. Tell us a little bit about your military.
Yes, I had an opportunity. Well, I said opportunity. I was inducted in service in 1952.
Okay.
And at that time, there was a 2-year, we call it a hitch, 2-year in service. So I went into a service that was in a career conflict. And I had an opportunity to go to Korea and then come back home. In 1954, I was discharged from the United States Army.
Wow, okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so, do you have any children?
Yes, I have 2 children. Sally Williams, which works at the BECTON the Barber Shop now, she's manager. And also Karen Petway, she's married. And so I have 2 daughters.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And have 5 grandchildren.
5 grandchildren. And you know what? I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, you can call in and speak to Mr. Becton. Those, I know you have a lot of fans that's listening this morning. They hit me up on Instagram. They hit me up on Facebook this morning. They said that, they want to be supporting you this morning being on the air. So if you want to call in and speak to Mr. Becton, you can call 844-710-1045. You can also catch us streaming live on surgeradio.org or 100.5 FM, 710 AM on your listening dial. Don't forget, you can also download the Surge Radio app for Android and iPhone devices. Mr. Becton, I was in Kenansville one time. I was over by James Sprung, and I told you the story a few minutes ago. And I was standing out there, I was looking around, and I saw this man. Right, he was coming through on a bike, and he had the bike suit on, he had the helmet, and he was riding, man. He was stroking, right? So I looked, I said, wow, look at that gentleman right there. And I kind of reflected on myself. I said, I'm a little lazy, And the person that was standing with me said, you don't know who that is? That's Mr. Becton. I said, that owned the barbershop? They said, yeah. And they said, he rides in I said marathons, but you corrected me and said that it was races.
Right.
Mr. Becton, I'm going to ask you a question, and I don't mean no harm. Please take the judgment. But how old are you, sir?
I'm 86 years young.
Let's give him a hand for that. You sound strong. And you ride in bicycle races?
Yes, we will be on a race October the 4th in Raleigh, North Carolina. We have 3 races. One is 1 mile. And then we have a race of 5K and a 10K. So I'll be riding those races in October.
Have you won any races? I'm sure you have, but have you won any titles?
Yes, we have 3 types of races. When we have a local race, it happened in New Bern, North Carolina. Our state race is in Raleigh, North Carolina. And the national races, they always be different places. But the last race I was in Columbus, Ohio.
And how long have you been doing these races?
Since 1992.
1992?
Yes.
What made you get into riding in races?
What made me get into races was a lady of Magnolia, Miss Marie Quarterman.
Okay.
And she said, Mr. Becton, if you get in there, you can do good. And so from that, I told her if I ever get to the age of 62, I would start in the senior games. And so I started. And I made her happy because I won and gave her a medal to let her know that I appreciate her telling me and getting me started in the senior game.
Let's give him a round of applause for that. Let's give him a round of applause for that. Gotta give him a hand. Gotta give him a hand. So look, we're gonna go. Before we go to break, I have Dr. Robert Osborne. Right? Gotta love him. Dr. Robert Osborne, want to ask you one question.
Well, Mr. Becton, they just had the Olympics in Rio. They actually have them now. Did you get a chance to see any of the Olympics?
Yes, I love that Olympics, and I saw those bike races, and I just love that. I love all the Olympics.
Well, that's great. Whenever I watch the Olympics, I think of you. This young man, Usain Bolt, I think his name is.
Yeah. Number 1.
World's fastest, I guess. But the point is, I think of him now. He's turning 30, I think.
30,
today,
yeah.
Possibly. But and he's running like that, and there you are at 86, and I dare say he'd probably be looking right there beside you if you were running too. Because really, you run more than just on your bicycle. You run in the community, and I would like to share that Becton's Barbershop was the first advertiser I sold here at Surge Radio.
Let's give him a hand. Let's give him a hand for that. Give him a hand for that. Give him a hand for that.
But Mr. Becton, if you don't mind, we had a conversation. As you recall, the station was going through a little transition at the time, and you and I spoke, and you said some profound words to me that I have carried with me to today. And those words were, "When you're at war, nobody wins."
Wow.
Right.
So from then on, I've taken the torch, and life is good. And I just want to thank you for all you've done in my life and in the community, because I don't know if you go to the African American churches in Magnolia and throughout around, you often hear Mr. Becton speak. And he's a profound speaker, and he knows the Bible too, by the way.
Thank you, Mr. Dawes.
That's my word to him. We're gonna
take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna have more Becton the Barber, and we're gonna talk to Mr. Terrence Graham. It's Mr. Roy Ayers running away.
Superheroes rock gold chains and diamond ring. Split your pain and make it rain. Gotta get the money, man. Hood rich, no snitch. He rock a lot of ice. And Jesus Christ, the kid is nice. He paid the price to be the boss. I love the way he floss. He tossed some money up in the air. He didn't care, standing on the square. He rock a fresh pair of LeBrons. Women on his arm. At 18, became a king, Lord of the Rings. And Jesus Christ, the kid was nice. I love the way he flows. He tossed some money up in the air.